Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing our second thrift flip today, second ever, and second for my current project. If you missed my last thrift flip video, you should go watch that first so you can catch up on what I've been working on and what this is all for. But brief summary, we are making over our entryway in our apartment and trying to DIY it as much as we can to keep the costs down. So I thrifted, I say thrift, but really I got them off Facebook Marketplace, which is the same thing because it's secondhand furniture, but a little bit different. Anyway, I got these pieces. The last video was me making over an old bookshelf into a shoe shelf slash bench for the front area. And now I have this, which you probably can't see very well because Suki's standing in front of it. I have this taller bookshelf, taller and more narrow, to hold other miscellaneous things, like especially our stuff for our dog right here. So I'm going to make this over and basically try to match it exactly to the shoe shelf that I did so that they go together and kind of look like they're one piece when they're next to each other. So that is the project in this video. I have already sanded and primed this piece, but it's a little messy. Well, the first thing we did was we sawed it by hand. And when I say we, I mean AJ, because I actually didn't do anything. But basically, we got this piece for literally $5 off Facebook Marketplace, and I think it was so cheap because the bottom of it had water damage. So we wanted to get rid of that part, and also I kind of wanted it shorter anyway. I didn't really want the entire height that it was because it was pretty tall, and our entryway area is pretty small. So I didn't want it towering over everything and making that space feel so cramped because it's already going to be pretty tight. So I wanted to shorten it. And we wanted to get rid of the water damage, but we were a little bit nervous because we don't have any power tools or anything, no electric saws or anything. We didn't even have a hand saw. We had to buy one. So we were a little bit nervous that it was going to be really difficult and not go well if we tried to hand saw it, but we kind of didn't have any other options. So that's what we did. And it actually worked really well. It's slightly wobbly because it's really difficult to hand saw a perfectly straight line, obviously. But I think with just a little bit of sanding on the bottom and maybe some of those furniture pads that you put on the bottom of furniture so they don't scratch your floor, maybe those in the lower corners or whatever will help stabilize it. But for now it's good enough. Also, we're probably going to mount it to the wall anyway. So it's it'll be fine.
We need that cardboard.
Okay.
We are sawing our bookshelf. we did that, sawed off a couple feet, and then sanded it, primed it, but I did run out of primer like halfway through priming. The shelves, which are sitting right here, there's a few of them. Shelves are primed totally fine, but the bookshelf structure itself, I kind of got the outside decent, but it was getting pretty stripy by then because I was using a spray primer, and I feel like when you get to the bottom of the spray paint bottle, it like comes out in a thinner, like stripier pattern instead of like a mist that coats it better. So it's pretty stripy on the outside, but I at least coated most of it. Inside, it got pretty rough. So I'm hoping it's still okay and not a pain in the ass to paint, because I didn't feel like, one, spending more money on primer, and two, waiting for it to get here so I could prime it properly in the areas that I missed. So I don't know if future me is going to be regretting this. I might, but I'm just going to go for it and hope it goes okay. In terms of the paint, if you missed my last thrift flip and you decided not to go watch it, then brief recap, I did like a faux wood finish using acrylic paint. So it looks like wood, but it's not. And so I'm going to do that exact same thing on here. And I made it like a very light toned wood because the inspiration I have for this entryway area, all of the wood and all the entryway inspiration photos I've found is very light toned. So that's what I've been working towards. For the entryway, I used these two apple barrel paints. They're acrylic paints. They're just like a basic brand apple barrel. That's like the basic ones. And the colors are beige and khaki. So I used, oh my God, I used beige as like the base coat to just lighten it up to a very, very light beige, because that's what I wanted the base color to be. And then I mixed in khaki with the beige on the final coats to kind of like give it that wood grain look. And then I realized I didn't buy enough of the beige paint or khaki, but especially the beige, because I only got 3 total bottles, and I thought that'd be enough for the shoe shelf and for this, which was very naive of me. I have about 1 left. I used a little bit of this one on the other shelf, but like it's mostly full. And so I went on Amazon to buy more because that's where I got it. And they were sold out. And it said, we don't know if this product's coming back. And after frantic searching, I realized that this beige paint, specifically by Apple Barrel, is pretty much sold out everywhere. I found it on one slightly sketchy website that I almost got it from until I realized they were charging $10 for shipping for a $2 bottle of paint. So that was really frustrating because I was like, oh my God, if I had just ordered enough the first time around, I would have it and it wouldn't have sold out yet. But now it's sold out, and apparently Apple Barrel is like, maybe we don't need to keep making this beige paint, even though that's a very basic color that I feel like you should always have. So that was really annoying and unfortunate, and now I'm hoping that it doesn't ruin my entire project. So lots of searching later, I found this. Now I have a lot of things to say about this. First of all, yes, this is going to be the replacement when I run out of beige for the beige color. Few different reasons I chose this one. One, I know it's not called beige, it's called French linen, but of all the acrylic paint beiges I found on Amazon, this one looks the most similar. Obviously, it's hard to tell from a photo, and it's probably going to look a little different in real life, but this was the closest I could find. And I've never heard of this brand. I was looking originally for like another like Apple Barrel equivalent brand, like bottom line cheap acrylic paint. And I found the Michaels brand. It's like Craft Smart, I think is the name. But their beige looked so much like pinker than this beige, which is very, very light. And like this is a warm beige, but it's not nearly as like pinkish orangish as the Michaels one looked. So I didn't want to get that one. So anyway, after my extensive search, this one looked the most similar. Excluding like the really fancy, expensive acrylic paints, I wasn't really looking at those because I didn't want to spend that much money on acrylic paint. So anyway, that's why I got this one. But it does say that it's like chalk paint. So that is interesting. But I figured that doesn't really matter. Like if I don't want to use it as a chalkboard, I don't need to. But like, I guess that is an option when you use this paint. But I'm hoping that it's all right because it was like advertising online that it's like low prep or minimal prep paint. So it was claiming allegedly that you don't even have to sand and prime ahead of time. So I'm hoping that that means that my running out of primer halfway through priming this won't be too detrimental to this project. So I think what I'm going to do is even though I have like a little bit more, where is it? Oh yeah, I did get more khaki. They weren't sold out of the khaki color. They were only sold out of beige. But even though I still have some more of the original, I think what I'm going to do is actually use this new beige as the base coat, because that way, if it does look slightly different than the beige I used on that entire shoe shelf piece that I finished, then hopefully it won't be as noticeable doing the final like textured coats using the original colors on top. So I'm hoping you won't even be able to tell. But just in case it's like kind of different, I'm going to start with this on the base coat. Also, because like I said, I ran out of primer and this claims that you don't need primer for it to work. So we'll see about that. But I'm basically just going to give this entire piece a base coat. That's how I started the last one. After that, we'll kind of see like how well this covers the whole piece, because this is also a black piece of furniture. My other one was like an orangey faux wood color. And that one needed 2 coats. But I was using the beige Apple Barrel paint and it was very thin. So I needed 2 coats of that just as the base before I even got around to doing the textured wood colors. We'll see how this one covers it. I feel like if it's chalk paint and it's advertising that there's no prep involved to be able to use it, I feel like it's probably going to be thicker and might do a better job in one coat, but we're going to see. Now that I have the 2 paints in my possession, looking at them side by side, this new chalk color that's technically called French linen does look a little bit more gray than my beige. So I'm hoping that doesn't come through too much because I do not want a gray. I want this like tan, like warm toned beige, not cool toned. So I'm hoping that it's not too, but they're pretty similar. It's just a little bit more cool toned. So hopefully that's not too noticeable. But we're going to find out right now. Oh my God. Jesus. Okay. I always feel like I need to check if paint has like, whatever. Irrelevant. Haven't even started and I have paint all over my hands. Okay, great. Even though this is literally the bottom and it's the lowest priority, I'm going to start there so you can see it best. Wait, can you even see that? Yeah, you can see it. It's a little far away. Here. Tilt down a bit. All right. Let's see how this looks. Okay, I need a lot more than that. Okay, that looks pretty warm, I think. Okay, well, one thing I'm noticing is this bottom half. Hi, Suki. You smell the paint? This bottom piece was completely not primed at all because, like I just said, it's kind of a lower priority area and I ran out of primer. But, Suki, it seems to be being applied fine. So maybe this whole running out of the beige Apple Barrel paint was a blessing in disguise because I don't think that would have applied as well. But so far I am noticing that It's not really having trouble sticking, even though I didn't fully prep this the best. So that's good. I also think it looks pretty similar. It's also probably going to look a little bit different on this piece because this is a black piece of furniture. And like I said, the other one was like an orange color. So it's going to be hard to compare just from this one coat. But I feel like it's looking similar enough and not too cool toned that with the original colors on top, it should hopefully match pretty well. But I guess only time will tell. We'll see when we get there. It is covering in a thicker coat too. I mean, because this furniture is black, I'll probably still need 2 full coats to cover up most of that color. But the fact that the furniture is black and it's still covering it pretty well is promising. All right. Well, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and coat this whole thing in one coat, and then I'll come back and give you guys an update. I also might move inside. I came out here because I thought it'd be nice because the weather's been a little bit warmer and nicer lately, but it's just like slightly hot. So may have to move inside, unfortunately. Actually, with that breeze, it's kind of nice. We'll see how long I can make it. All right, let's do this. Okay, it has been several days since the last clip you guys just saw, and let me just say that this project has turned into a project. You're currently looking at a bookshelf that has almost 2 coats of paint on it. So I finished 2 coats on the outside, but the inside has 1 coat still. And then all of the shelves, which you can't see right now, but they're sitting behind this, those all have 1 coat on them. And the paint, just a reminder, although now that I'm thinking about it, it's been days for me and not for you, so you probably don't need this reminder, but it's this chalk paint. This is the third bottle, I think, that I've ordered. This is brand new. I'm about to open it, but I just keep running out of paint, and I feel stupid because I'm like, why didn't I just order like 5 of these? And then if I didn't use some, I could just return them after. I should have done that because here I am. I'm like, this project has become such a lengthy one because I keep having to order paint and wait for it to come. But even better is the other day, I realized how stupid I am because we literally live very close to a Blick, which is like, if you don't know, it's just like an art materials store. Like they have all sorts of art stuff. And I'm like, why did I never think to go there for paint? Like, am I stupid? I don't know why. I think I think here's what happened. When we were first shopping for materials, we were shopping for everything at once, like sandpaper and primer and like lots of like hardware tool type things. And so we went to an Ace Hardware, didn't have any luck there. So I ended up just getting everything on Amazon. But I think in my head, I just had it in my head that like I needed to go to a hardware store for all these things. So then when I was needing more and more acrylic paint, I don't know why, but it just like never crossed my mind to go to Blick. And now I feel like such an idiot because all this time of like ordering one at a time and then running out and having to order another and wait a day or two for it to be delivered and then paint and then needing more. Like all this time I could have just been walking to Blick and getting more paint. And I feel stupid. And they probably had better options there too because my options were pretty limited on Amazon. So I kind of feel like an idiot, but it's okay. We're moving forward. We're not going to talk about it anymore. So I have this bookshelf behind me that I need to finish. I got yet again another one of the chalk paints and it's covering it pretty well considering this was a black bookshelf, but I'm still like high key stressing about like the final coats because this is all I have left of the apple barrel beige acrylic paint and it's not completely full. It's like pretty full, but it's not completely full. And this is like all I have along with the khakis that I have to do the wood texture over this entire thing. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. Also, if you noticed in some of the previous footage, I ended up not painting the back panel. It's still completely black. And the reason I did that is because I was honestly just worried about running out of paint and not having enough. And I mean, the chalk paint is one thing. Like if I run out, I can just order more. Or now that I'm not stupid, I could just go to Blick and find a similar paint. But it's the beige that goes all around the outside with the khaki to make that wood grain texture. I'm concerned about running out of that paint and not being able to finish this, which again, I could try to find another beige paint at Blick that looks very similar to this one. But considering it's me sitting right next to that other bookshelf I did, I'm concerned about using any other kind of beige from a different brand and it looking slightly off because I want them to look like they're all like made together. So I was concerned about that. So I figured the black backing would be like last priority. If I have enough paint, I'll paint it. But if not, I can just remove it because I was kind of considering removing it in the beginning anyway, but then I decided to just leave it. And now that I'm like highly considering removing it for the sake of my paint supply, I'm like, dang, I kind of don't want to remove it anymore, but I don't think I'm going to have enough paint for it. So for now, it's black and ugly and might be taken off soon. But for now, we're just going to finish the second coat and then hopefully finally get started on like the actual wood texture that I actually care about. But yeah, I just have to finish the second coat on the inside panels and shelves and stuff. And then like all these shelves over here. So hopefully this is enough for that. But even if it is, I highly doubt this is going to be enough. So I don't know. We're going to have to be very conservative with this paint when we get there. But for now, I'm just doing a second coat and then we'll see how this goes.
Okay, it's been a couple hours of painting and I wanted to update you guys on the paint situation and how much I have left to do. So here's the bookshelf. All of the outside of the actual bookcase is painted with this wood pattern. There are areas where I don't love it, but I had to not be too picky because I didn't want to keep going over it with paint and running out of the paint that I need to do everything else. This spot right there, I was just about to go start painting the inside, the wood pattern, but I was realizing I'm running very low on this beige paint. So I'm kind of at a crossroads here where I need to make a decision. This is mostly khaki paint because I was like, wait, what if I just did khaki on the inside? Because I have a lot of the khaki color. And I feel like because it's the inside, you might not notice that it's a tiny bit darker and doesn't really have that wood pattern. So I might have to do that because I was thinking if I did that, then I might have like just enough of the beige paint left to be able to do the wood pattern on the shelves. So that way it's like, at a far away enough glance, it probably will still look like wood everywhere, but then like when you get closer, you might be able to tell that the inside is just one solid like light brown color. But even then, I feel like it might not be that obvious since it's the inside and all the shelves facing outward would still be wood patterned. So I kind of have to decide what I want to do, but I feel like that might be my only option because I feel like if I do the inside, I'm just going to run out of paint. And I'm not going to even be able to do the shelves, or I'll have to like go try to find beige paint. And we all know how that has been going for me. So I don't really want to have to do that. That's where we're at. I think I'm going to do what I just said and paint the shelves first to make sure I have enough paint to do the wood pattern on at least the top of them. And then kind of go from there. And if I feel like I'm like running very low on beige paint, then like everything else on the inside might just end up being khaki. I don't know. I'll keep you guys updated, but first, I am dying. I'm tired. It's 2 o'clock. That's like right at my peak level of tiredness in the afternoon. So I need to make a latte. Are y'all even surprised at this point? I literally make a latte in every single video. No matter what the subject of the video is, I'm always making a latte.